Good morning, traders. Welcome to this week's Elliott Wave Forex and Cryptocurrency Market Analysis webinar. I hope you are all doing well and you've had a great week. Right, we will be looking at how the market is setting up and looking for potential trade setups for the next week. Before we get started, if you'd like to contact us, check out our channel. It is called Trading Waves. This is the new Elliott Wave Principles. So why do we call it the new Elliott Wave Principle? That's because we wave differently. We don't do it the usual way that most people are doing it. We do it differently. And to see how we do it differently, you can follow us on our social media pages to follow some of our analysis and some of the chart updates that we send on our social media pages. And if you'd like to get more than just those updates, you can go onto our website and look at the rest of our offers. So all our contact details are under the description of all our videos. You'll find the contact number that you can use for either Telegram or WhatsApp, as well as the trading view link where you can follow us for some chat updates. You can also follow us on Twitter as well as on Facebook. So the profiles on Twitter and Facebook are exactly the same. You can choose which one you prefer. So our Twitter page is on the home page of our website, so you can follow us easily there. You can just click on the home page and follow us on Twitter. As you can see, we've got the invitation for the Zoom meeting. Unfortunately, I made a mistake. There's actually supposed to be June 30th for this webinar, but we host them every Sunday at 8 a.m. GMT if you'd like to attend them live. All right, so you can look at that. There is a 15% off across all our subscriptions. Inquire here if you want to know more. But all prices are currently discounted. You can inquire here for your discount offer on the website. So this is the global chat. It is easiest to contact us here, and it is the quickest way to get a response if you contact us through the global chat. All right, so we are going to go straight into the analysis for this week. As I'm going through the analysis, I'm going to be looking at some of the trade setups that we've played out in the past week. Right, so let's go for it. We'll start with, I want to start, before we go through the rest of the pairs, I want to start with Pound AUD, because Pound AUD has been a bit of a mess in the last couple of weeks. So let's have a look at what is happening historically with Pound AUD as well as Pound New Zealand. Those that have been following us for a while, for years, because we've been doing this for years. I think we've been posting on Facebook for about 5 years now, and on YouTube for about 4 years as well. Right, so Pound AUD, what are we looking at here? From 2017, if you go through the videos, you'll see that we have been looking at this structure. Okay, and this structure is a simple corrective structure, as a WXY corrective structure. It is a double combination. This is a 3 waves. It started with 3 waves in the same degree. So I just want to show that in the same degree. So this red is supposed to be in this. Let's use the blue color. So let's follow the right degrees here that are listed on the as it is labels. So we can see what the next move is. This is easiest to see what the next move is when you zoom out and look on the weekly chart. So this is the weekly chart. Okay. Right, so this is the weekly chart. So we've started with a move to the downside. It is quite a sharp move, but it is a zigzag. It is not an impulse. But after that, we have been correcting for 2 years. So from 2017 until the beginning of 2020, this corrective structure has been in play. So we saw this one here coming up here. My mouse is misbehaving a bit here. Let's make it a straight line. So this is the W, this is a X, and this is a Y. All right, now we have been looking for the past couple of days for these to do this and then come down like that. Let's just take this one off here. And this corrective structure has not been dropping as we've been expecting. So what that means is this correction is not done as yet, and we are looking for it to continue to the downside. Now let's have a look at how this is playing out now. So I'm going to focus around this area because this is where we are now. We can see the relationship with the rest of the structure. I'm not going to go through the whole historical data, but that's also very important because you cannot do analysis without that. Now I want to look at this structure. Let's have a look at it. Now, what are we seeing here? If you look on the weekly chart on pound AUD, there's a very clear structure. So what we started with here is a 1, 2, 3, a 4, and a 5. This is the one alternative. But let's first look at this one. This, as much as there are spikes here, this is a move to the downside. It's a pullback in wave 2. This is the end of our wave 3. And this is the end of our wave 4, like that. So that means we've got a 5 waves impulse to the downside. That is the one alternative. I'm going to show you another one, but it will not change the bias. So what this means is if we've got 5 down, we need to have 3 back or a double or whichever one we're going to get. So what is happening now is this. We have been looking for this to drop. Initially, we wanted it to drop here because we were expecting that to have been corrected and for this move to continue to the downside. But as you can see that this correction is too small to have corrected the whole move. So that's why we see pound AUD continuing with this move to the upside. Now, we may see some downside or some pullback here on pound AUD. That does not mean that the move is over. It may just mean that we are going to have a double that will take it to at least maybe 50% here. So we could have a double XY corrective structure like that. So that will mean that we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. And then we look at this as a W, X, and a Y. So that means the correction on pound AUD is not over yet. We are still going to see a bit more upside. Even if we do see downside, that downside may not be over because we need to see this whole move corrected from 2020 to date. Okay, so what was the second alternative that I was going to show you? The second alternative does not change. Now, how do you know that this is the orthodox low or is this the low here? So let's have a look at the two possibilities because both of them are possible. So let us say now the orthodox low is rather here. Let's say the move from the upside has ended in this area. So how does that affect the rest of the structure? Let's have a look here. We will still have our 1, 2, 3, 4, and our 5. So that is still the 5 waves to the downside. That will be the end of wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5. Now, how does that affect the structure? That means now we've got this 1, 2. Okay. Now, after that, let's do this. Let's make it with a single line here. Now, after that, we're getting a passing move to the upside and we get a move to the downside as follows. That's the move. Now we're getting a corrective structure as follows, 1, 2, and 3. So that means this corrective structure is still in play, but even so, that will still not take us to about 50% of the whole move. What can take us there is if this makes a complex correction as follows, that can take us back to about 90. So what will that change? How will that play out? This is what it's going to be. We will still have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the downside. We'll still have our correction. We have been in this corrective structure since the mid 2020. It's still in play now. So we're still expecting a bit of a move to the upside and a move to the downside. Then we're still going to expect a move to the upside like this. What is this structure? This is the structure, A, B, C corrective structure. We'll look for downside. Okay, so that is how we're looking at pound AUD. The only difference between this and the pound New Zealand is this. I'm gonna come back to this one on the lower time frame so we can before we continue. So I wanted to look at both pound AUD and pound New Zealand because they have been a little bit complex in the last couple of days. So let's have a look at pound New Zealand on the weekly as well. Now, pound New Zealand, if you look at pound New Zealand, this has now made not an impulse, but rather a 1, 2, 3 waves down, a 3 waves to the upside. These are 3 waves. You just can't see it because it happened too quickly. Now we've got another 3 waves to the downside. So what you have on pound New Zealand is a W, it's a X, and it's a Y. So you can clearly see the 3 waves here. You can't see them clearly here. You have to go down to the lower degree, and you can also see the 3 waves here. So that is a WXY corrective structure. Now, what is happening with this one is that it is making a simple zigzag. So we're going to expect this one to do the same thing as well. So that means you're going to have WXY here, we're going to have WXY here, and that is the end of New Zealand. So New Zealand could even get back to 2 against pound can go to 2 against the New Zealand dollar. Okay, so that is what we're going to be expecting, a continuation to the upside, but that would be at about 50% of this whole move. That is the 61% Fibonacci retracement of that whole move. Now, how do you trade this? This is where you need to go down to the lower time frames. Let's go back to pound Audi. You go down to the lower time frame and see what structure are you getting. Are you getting continuation to the upside, or are you getting a reversal? So as it is, there is no reversal as yet. Any reversal will be for a continuation move to the upside. So this is what you look at going forward, because we are still not, the move to the upside is not over yet. The indicator is not showing us downside as yet. As well as pound Audi, we're looking for the same thing. We're still going to see a bit of a push to the upside, even though this one can do this structure. Let's have a look at the whole structure on pound New Zealand. I'm going to go through to the rest now. So if you look at pound New Zealand, there was New Zealand news over the week that made a rally on New Zealand, on the New Zealand. So this could be playing out a structure like this: 1, 2, this one coming down here. So this would have been 1, 2, 3 down. Now we're starting with a move to the upside here as follows: 1, 2, 3 up. Now we're looking for this one to come possibly do this. Even so, we will still expect that this pushes to the upside to continue with this corrective structure. So we will be watching this over the next couple of days. That is New Zealand Audi, that is pound Audi, as well as New Zealand Audi. Now let's go through the rest of the pairs. Let's start with the DXY and see how the market has played out. So we'll be looking at mostly 4-hour and 1-hour chart. Let's go through the DXY. Now we'll look at some of the members charts over the last week. Now the DXY, let's start with the DXY. So this is the chart that was presented for members on the 22nd of May, start of the week. So we expected this to come down to 89.40, 89.20, and then a bounce. How has that played out in the week? So after the bounce, we expected that this will continue to the downside. So let's have a look at how the DXY is playing out. So the DXY is played out exactly as expected. So from the 22nd of May, we expected it to come down here. We expected a bounce in 3 waves. That is a very clear bounce in the 3 waves there. And now it is continuing to the downside as forecasted, because we know that the trend on the DXY is still downside. As you can see, this was the forecast. We were here, we expected to come down to around 89.40, 89.20. That is where we reversed. Okay, so, but we knew that that was simply a corrective structure. Our bias is downside. Whether we're getting a 3-wave pullback, we are trading lower. Okay, so that is the DXY. Now let's go to Euro US dollar. So Euro US dollar on the 22nd of May, this was the forecast. We expected a bit of a push to the upside, and then we expected that we're going to have a downside here and then continuation to the upside. How has the euro played out in the week, and what are we expecting going forward? Now, exactly the same as the DXY. You can see that we're here. We pushed to the upside where we expected the reversal. We have come down in 3 waves here, and now we're expecting a push to the upside on Euro US dollar. So is this what's going to happen here? But if you have to check the 4-hour first. So on the 4-hour, rather the 1-hour first. So on the 1 hour, we expected a double correction on the euro as follows. So what has happened on the euro on the 1 hour is that we've got this bounce now. Okay. This may not be ready to go as yet. So in the week, in the coming session, we will have to possibly have a structure where we see the euro making a double as follows. So a double as follows. So that means we're going to have this B wave going up in 3, and then we get another 3 waves. Then we push to the upside. So the wave 2 that we're expecting here will then start to the upside. Now, the structure that we're expecting, I have to show you this on the 4-hour because that's where you're going to see it clearly. We are looking at this as a wave 1 and then a 2. Then the wave, this wave here in green is starting with a leading diagonal. That's why we expected that push to the upside to the top of the diagonal, and then a pullback here as follows. So this diagonal is a leading diagonal for the lower degree green, and then we're looking for upside. If we remember, we are looking for this to be a pulsing move to the upside. That is Euro US dollar, pound US dollar. Let's have a look at pound US dollar 1 hour. Pound US dollar. So if you see here now, we've got a trade set up for more upside, but we actually got this one from the blue box. Let me see if it's still shown on the 4-hour. We may still have that chart on the 4-hour. There it is very clearly. So pound, we expected that it was going to come around 40.50 and then push to the upside. That is where the blue box is, and it is still pushing to the upside. Our target on pound US dollar is still 144. So we're still expecting this to continue pushing to the upside in the coming sessions. Right, so that is pound US dollar CAD. you know our view on US dollar CAD. We know on US dollar CAD we are almost at the end. We're actually at the end. We're just waiting for any sign of a reversal. So in the week we expected a bit of a bounce to the upside and then continuation to the downside. So US dollar CAD is playing out as follows, exactly as forecasted on the 1 hour. A bit of upside here, and then we're looking for continuation to the downside. But as I have been saying, we're starting to form a base here on US dollar CAD. So we are waiting for data and for the indicators to show us when we are ready for a move to the upside. This is where we wanted to get to about a year ago. We are here, so we want to see this, if we're going to form a nice diagonal here for a bounce to the upside. At this stage, we can see there is divergence on the RSI. So the RSI is showing us some divergence, but does not confirm anything as yet, because the indicators, all of them, need to confirm the structure and the cycle as well. So that's when we will continue to buy, because that's why I said, even when we go to this level, do not start buying US dollar CAD. They're not going to push it down here for a year and a half and then just push to the upside on touching this level here. We need to have an accumulation phase here. So this is what we're going to be looking at here, and then a bounce to the upside. Now, US dollar CAD is correlated to US dollar ZAR, and we will expect the same thing on the US dollar ZAR. So also starting to form a base here, possibly an ending diagonal here. So on US dollar ZAR, when US dollar CAD starts pushing to the upside, we'll expect the same. But US dollar ZAR is still going to show us one more down here before any bounce. Okay, so for the rest of the US dollar PES, the US dollar CAD, so let's have a look at US dollar CAD and how we saw it in the week. The US dollar CAD, we expected the same thing, that we're going to have a bit of a push to the downside, we're going to have a pullback, and then continuation to the downside. And that is how US dollar CAD has played out. So that is the 3-wave pullback that we now have, and a potential continuation to the downside here. So this is what we're going to have here in the week. We're going to be looking for this to break lower here and continue to the downside. That is US dollar CHF. All right, now looking at that, let's look at the yen pairs. I think we've covered, no, we still have Audi US dollar and New Zealand, and we still have Audi US dollar and New Zealand US dollar to do. Let's have a look at both of this one this year. So let's have a look at Audi US dollar. Audi US dollar, we expected this to be playing out as a triangle. 1, 2, 3, 4. We wanted a 5 and then downside here. This is not how this has played out. How this has played out now is this. So we have got a move to the downside. This is what has happened here now. We've pushed to the downside as follows. We are currently here. How has the structure changed? Not much. It just means that the correction is not a triangle, but rather a flat. Okay, so we are now expecting that this will play out as a flat. The structure is still the same. This is still our green A. This is still our green B. We are still going to expect one more down here. But first, a bit of a push to the upside, and then upside here. So we've got this one here. We came down to around this level, making a regular flat. We are currently here. Now we're going to expect upside, downside, and then upside. So that will complete this whole structure in 3 waves. That is on Audi US dollar. So we'll expect upside here. That will be our entry. That will be for our trade setup to the upside if this correction plays out like that. Let's go to the structure, see what it looks like. Audi US dollar. That is how it has played out. So that triangle that we were looking at here did not play out. So instead, as I've said, 1, 2, we currently here, there's a possibility that we play out this as a regular flat downside before we push to the upside. That's how we're going to be watching that. New Zealand. So New Zealand, we're expecting this on the New Zealand, that we're going to have this one. We see that there's a candle reversal here. These candles at the end of the session don't mean much. So you'll find that at the start of the session, we're going to continue down to the downside like that. We make a regular flat and then continuation to the upside on the New Zealand. For now, just wait for more data on that. Let's go to the pound, the yen pairs. Now, looking at the yen pairs, you can see that we are still expecting upside, but this is not the only time where we expected upside on pound yen. So we've had a trade setup. If you have been following us for a while, you'll remember that when we got to this level, we said we are coming down here and we are looking for 156. And now we've just touched that 156 that we've been looking for. And I'll show you why we have been looking at 156. But first, let's see how we looked at that pair. So let's look at pound yen. This is pound yen on the 25th of April, over a month ago. So you see that corrective structure that was playing out here, it actually played out as follows. We came down here, even though we didn't quite take the low here, we are now currently here at 155, 156. We have always been looking at 156, which I'll show you why. Now, from here to where we focused it, that is over 600 pips, because this is where we looked at. We look for this one to reverse at around 149. So that was this is why we do not sell pound yen. We only look for buy setups. We're looking for this to come around 48. So it actually reversed here around 149. Now we've got a 600 pip move here as forecasted. That is pound yen. So what do we expect now? Now that we've reached 156, do we now just sell? No. And why did we expect 156? This is the part that most of you do not see, which I show from time to time. This is a weekly chart. So we have been right here at the bottom for the past year or so. Let's see from when did this correction start? From March 2020. Over a year, we have been in this impulsive move. So we've just been trading this to the upside the whole time. Why? Because we're looking at this weekly structure as a flat. Okay, so that's why we only get trade setups in this direction. Now, for the rest of the structure, you'll see that we've got an analysis for this pair for the next 10 years. So let me show you what I mean by that. Let's go to the yen pairs so you can see what I mean by an analysis for the next 10 years. How do we know what's going to happen in the next 10 years? This is pound yen. You see, so pound yen, we have now reached this level. Are we just going to reverse? We are going to wait for an indicator to confirm for us, because this, you cannot just go and sell this because you are looking at the structure, because you could be wrong with the structure, but the indicator can never be wrong, right? So this is what we're expecting on pound yen for the next 10 years. If you look at the bottom here, this is 2029. And if you look at that, that will be about 2035. So for the next 15 years, we've got a focus on the weekly on pound yen. So we know what the market is going to do for the next 4 hours, for the next hour, for the next 10 years, because we've got the cycles. All right, so that is how we're looking at pound US dollar. We're very close to a reversal area, but it has not shown us reversal yet. So we're still going to see a bit more upside. If you look at how this has played out here, you'll see that pound AUD has also done the same thing here, pushed quite up here. So we were looking for this to be also a flat correction, but it went and made a structure like this, almost an expanding flat like that, and then we reverse. There's nothing that stops this from doing that before coming down. So do not rush this just because you're looking at that. You need to have an indicator that tells you when the reversal areas are imminent. US dollar yen, let's have a look here back on the daily chart, but I'll show you on the weekly as well. Let me just check here. Let's go back to US dollar yen. Look at the forecast from the blue box a couple of days ago. That is 26th of April. We looked for this to reverse from the blue box. You'll all remember that. So where was that blue box? Let's go to the 4 hour. And let's see how this has played out so far. So US dollar yen from the blue box. This was the blue box. We looked for this to reverse from here. I am actually wrong. So this was the blue box here. We looked for this to push to the upside like that. Now this is, I'm actually wrong again. This was the blue box here. This was the blue box. Let's draw this in straight line. Let's avoid the confusion. This is the level here. So we had the blue box here on US dollar yen. Just verify that so you can see the structure on US dollar yen. Why did I close it? Let me open it. Let's close this. We've got so many things open here. Let's clean it up a bit. Let's go back. So this is US dollar yen. Look at that blue box at 108. So the blue box was 108 exactly. We were looking for this to push to the upside. So if you look at this here, this was also our blue box at 108. We looked for this to push to the upside. How are we so confident that this is going to reverse right at the blue box? That's because the indicator and the cycle tells us when they confirm, and you cannot get it wrong. You can get the sequence wrong for the next 10 years, for the next couple of days, but the next immediate move, when the indicator is showing you, you will not get it wrong. What you will get wrong is how far it will go, because the indicator does not show you how far. The sequence and the cycle tells you how far. That's how we project take profits level as well. So this is how US dollar yen is playing out. From the blue box, has made a move to the upside, pulled back. When it was here last week, we said it's going to come and tag the low here and continue to the upside. Now, it looks like it is making a move up in 3 waves. We're still expecting this to continue pushing to the upside in the next week. Will we come here and do a structure like this? Let's watch US dollar yen. Euro yen. Now, again, Euro yen, we have been bullish Euro yen for a while. I've shown for the last couple of days how we've just been buying these blue boxes on Euro yen, almost 5 of them. Let's have a look at them in different degrees. The first one was this blue box here, where we looked for this trade setup to the upside. The second one here was this here, which we bought to the upside. The third one here was this one, which we bought here. This one did not quite get to the blue box, so we only had to use the strategy that we, another strategy that we employ without using the blue box. We've got another one here. Okay, we've got another one here. We've got another one here. These ones are in the 1 hour time frame. Now look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Every time we've been getting the blue box setups for upside, and we've just been selling or buying Euro yen. Why have we been buying Euro yen? Again, this is the part that you guys don't see. We look at the weekly chart. We're currently looking at this as a 3 waves to the upside, 3 waves back. Now we've been looking for this to push up higher. We are even looking for this to get around this level. Now let's have a look at how that we forecasted this. So if you look at this on Euro yen, without just telling you where this comes from, or that we've traded without giving you proof, look at Euro yen. This was at 130 on the 26th of May when we updated our weekly chart. So from 130, we're currently at 133, almost 400 pips. We're looking for even 140 here. Okay, so we'll be looking for this to push to the upside. At least now you've seen that, you can see that you do not need to be selling Euro yen anytime soon. So that's how we'll be looking at this structure. Okay, so that is Euro yen. Let's go back to the 4 hour. Euro yen and CHF yen are correlated. So if you're looking at Euro yen, what Euro yen does, CHF yen also does exactly the same thing here. If you look at this, we had a trade set up here from the blue box for more upside. We had another one, this blue box here, that most people did not quite get. Why we were looking to buy here when the move was to the downside. We were looking at a corrective structure. So we got this one here, 1, 2. This one did not trade to the blue box. Second one, this one did not. This was the last trade setup that we took on CHF. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trade setups, and every time we came to the weekly chart, I have been detailing how we are looking at this. So that was CHF yen. If you look at CHF yen, let me just find CHF yen here and show you how we've traded CHF yen. So this is CHF yen. Also on the 26th of May, all these forecasts were on the 26th of April rather. So we're looking for this one to push. Look where we were here. Let's make this full screen here. So look where we were here, 117.92. Where are we currently? We're currently at 122 on CHF yen. Look at that. From 118 rather to 122. That's over 400 pips since our blue box and since our forecast. We've actually crushed the target. We're currently now at 122, and we still expect more upside. Why are we expecting more upside? If you look at the weekly chart, again, we're looking for more upside. Okay, let's just clear all of that. Look at the CHF and look at CHF yen. So CHF yen, just like Euro yen, we are looking at this structure. We are at the end of the structure, so you don't want to be buying at these levels anymore. Very risky. You know, the rule is to buy low and sell high. Okay, so you need to buy low and sell high. So do not just rush into these trade setups. Now this is I need to go back to the lower time frame here. But if you remember, we had a trade setup here on the 4 hour where this went on for 5 waves. And around this level, we actually exited the trade. Now, if you look at this, it has now reached that level where we would be now expecting a reversal. This is now CAD yen. Let's go back to CAD yen and let's go to the lower time frame. You can see all the structures are very clear. Even if they say sell in May and go away, the market has still been trending. If you remember, the same time that we bought pound yen, it was the same time we got CAD yen. Not only did we get that trade set up on CAD yen here, we got it from the blue box here. Let me see if I can find it quickly here on Slack so you can see the blue box on CAD yen. Let's look for it quickly. That was a pound. I'm looking for CAD yen. Let me see if I can find CAD yen. If I can't, then there we go. But this one was already a trade setup after the blue box, but that's fine. I'm not going to go look for the blue box one. If you can just refer to the videos. If you go to any date before this, to a video before this, you'll find us forecasting the blue box area here and looking for upside. Okay, so that's how we've got that move. Almost 600 pips from around these levels. From 85 to now 90, that's almost 500 pips on CAD yen. We are still bullish. No signs of reversal yet, although we are almost to the end. Now, with oil looking strong, this CAD yen may continue to push to the upside. Now, New Zealand yen has been pushing up higher. We also got a new trade set up here on the blue box here. We're looking for more upside here. Let me just see here on New Zealand yen if that trade setup is there. So that was the blue box here. Unfortunately, this one is after the update, so we were looking for this one to push to the upside. Let me see if I can get you one before it played out here on the 4-hour on New Zealand. There we go. So this was the blue box area. We focused that this was going to reverse here, and then we're going to push to the upside. Where are we now on New Zealand yen? We have traded up to about 80, as you can see, 80.50 as the forecast. Now we are pulling back, but we are still bullish. We're still looking for more upside, but you don't want to be buying at these levels. You want to buy or on these bigger corrective structures. So for now, this is not ready yet. So wait for new entries. All right, so Audi yen, if I was not looking at the rest of the yen pairs, I would say this is coming down, but looking at the correlation, this should make one more move to the upside before any pullback. So Audi yen, just based on the rest of the structures, on the rest of the group, we'll expect it to make one move to the upside. But Audi is very weak. All right, so the forecast on gold, we're looking for this to make a bit more upside here, but then we're going to look for this to give us a deeper corrective structure as follows. Let's look at the commodities. Now looking at the commodities gold, we are looking on the 1 hour for this in the next coming session to go to even 1940 before we get a pullback in a deeper pullback. We're currently in this green degree, 1, 2, 3. So we want that green degree to complete, but first, before the green degree completes, we need to have the purple completing as follows. Okay, so that's how we're looking at that structure. So for now, gold will still push to the upside in the next coming sessions. Similar to silver, we're expecting silver to push to the upside. If I was not looking at gold, I would say silver was going to do this structure first to push to the upside, but it does not look like we're going to get that one more down. Looks like this is all a correction on silver, and we are starting already a move to the upside. So watch silver to at least come to this level. Okay, now coming to that level will mean for silver that this is possibly a flat with 3, 3, and possibly 5, and then upside. That will be a regular flat and then upside. So we're still bullish in the next coming session or in the next week on silver. Brent crude oil was our chart of the week. If you have visited our website, please check out our website, ElliottWave-principle.com. You would have found this trade set up from around here. We've looked at this one to be from the blue box. You've been watching these videos for a while, you will know that our view on oil has been this. We looked at this to be a diagonal as follows. So that diagonal was starting a wave 1 for a wave 5, 1, and we looked for this one to come and reverse exactly here, and then we're looking for this one to make a structure like this. Now we're starting a move to the upside. Look for an entry here. Okay, if you've got a strategy that tells you when this is ready for a move, then you can use that. For members, we will update when we've got another entry, because the first one was from the blue box here on Brent crude oil. Brent crude oil goes together with CADCHF. Let's look at CADCHF first. I'm going to come back to the rest. CADCHF, we've got a blue box set up here for our members where we bought CADCHF from around these levels here on the blue box. Now we're looking for upside. We just want to get an entry here. As you can see, the similarities between this and oil. We have bought this together with CAD yen that I was speaking about at this level, looking for more upside, has gone on to make 5 waves. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves, pull back, then we're looking for continuation to the upside. If you remember, we exited our trade here because we saw that from here, there's divergence on the RSI. So we get out, we've made 5 waves, we've made our money. Now we're looking to enter again. This is how you manage the trade setups. So we got this one. We had a blue box setup here on CADCHF. Bought here, the first trade, second trade, then we got this one here for about 500 pips, rather 400 pips from 70 to about 74. Now we're looking for a new entry there. Okay, I'm going to come back to the crosses. Let's continue with the rest of the commodities we are done. That's oil. That's what we're looking at on oil. CAD. So CAD, we looked at CAD to be doing this last week, to come down here and make a push to the upside like that. But we are still bearish CAD. We're looking for this to come down here. With oil looking strong, the CAD is going to be strong as well. So we don't expect this to continue all the way, but rather to make just a pullback. So we've got one, we've got this, possibly two here. We can get this making a complex correction as follows. That will mean that we've got this 1, 2, 3 here. And then you've got this one here, giving you an ABC corrective structure, and then we continue lower. For now, there's no trade set up there. We'll wait for that. Pound Audi, Pound New Zealand, I've already gone through that. Pound CHF. Let's go back to the pound pairs now. Pound CHF. Now looking at pound CHF on the 4-hour. Pound CHF, we're looking for these to be playing out a flat here. We saw the asset was coming down here. It was not coming down with an impulse. That's why we changed that view to see this one as a pulsing move all the way up to here. That's our A, and it's now making a 3-wave move here. We're expecting that on pound CHF. That's how pound CHF is playing out. We'll look for this one to get back to around 50% of this original move. Then we'll look for this to come down and then upside. But for now, we're not worried about this. We just want to see this one trade up to this level first. That's where we're going to take our trades to for now. That is a pound CHF. Looking now at pound CAD, we are done with the pound pairs. Euro pound. So euro pound, let's have a look at euro pound. Euro pound has made this nice corrective structure that we have expected last week. If you look at last week, we said that euro pound is going to do this, it's going to push to the upside. It's now done exactly that. Now look for entries around these levels and then may move to the downside. That's because we're expecting pound pairs to have short-term strength. Euro Audi should be similar to pound Audi. So if pound Audi is going to push to the upside, we are simply going to look for Euro Audi to push to the upside based on what pound Audi is doing. Same as Euro New Zealand. So Euro New Zealand, just watch out for a move here in 3 waves. This should be correlated to New Zealand. We should possibly have a structure like this. Then we'll have this as a corrective structure like that. That is Euro New Zealand. EURCAD. EURCAD is our we've got a trade set up on EURCAD from the blue box. We actually sold it from here. Looking at this blue box, is this going to go all the way? We've only just got a move up to this level. After we took the trade, we dropped like that, but we went back to entry and we came down again. Now, what is the view here on EURCAD? There's a possibility that EURCAD can actually give us a 3-wave pullback before coming down. So that means this is not going to be all the correction. We may have this one making a double correction before coming down. So let's watch that for the next coming session. We are already in that trade. EUROCHF has been bouncing from that blue box that we forecasted a couple of weeks back or a couple of days back, looking at this to be a 3-wave structure. So we may see this continue to the downside here. Maybe that was not actually the blue box. As I've said, this looked too shallow to be our blue box. So now this will make much more sense with 3 waves down here, 3 waves up here, and this one making another 3 waves. So what we are seeing here on EUROCHF is that EUROCHF is going to continue to the downside as follows. Then that will be a perfect WXY structure, textbook one, where we will now look to buy it at that level. But let's watch this level first. Let's watch this level on EUROCHF. Very clear structures for the next coming week. All the charts for members will be updated in the next 2 hours. So if you remember, you can check our website in the next 2 to 3 hours. So just be patient. Before London open, all the charts will be open. Euro Audi New Zealand, we know that there was strength in the New Zealand. Let's go back. We know that there was strength in the New Zealand because of the news over the week. So that's why you see every pair that has got a New Zealand as the code on it would have dropped. But we were expecting that this was going to come around this level, around the blue box. We didn't get the blue box. This one has just dropped and giving an entry here in this fashion. So this was the entry on Audi New Zealand. So currently we are still going to continue to the downside. AUDCAD continues to the downside. We have been in a Audi New Zealand sell setup from here. When we got to this level, we said it's going to continue to the downside. We got our target here. We got out of the trade. Now it was making a running flat here. That's showing us continuation to the downside. Why is that? Because of the CAD here, oil is looking strong for the next coming session. So we may get a bit of a bounce here before we continue to the downside. So that bounce will be the correction in oil, the pullback in oil that we're expecting. Okay, AUDCHF, we're looking for AUDCHF to bounce from the blue box here as follows. We don't have that bounce just yet, but we are still within the blue box. We'll still expect that to play out like that. New Zealand CAD is correlated to AUDCAD. So this one is playing out an expanding flat. So any pullback on the 1 hour on New Zealand CAD, you can actually sell that. So look for these pullbacks and then keep selling New Zealand CAD. We have been bearish New Zealand CAD for a while. All right, so we've already gone through CADCHF together with oil, S&P 500. Let's go to the indices now. Last week on the indices, we expected the S&P 500 to play out like this before pushing to the upside. We did not get that one drop and we are continuing to the upside. But what is the view here? Are we still expecting the same? This has not really gone anywhere. We're still expecting that the S&P 500 will do this and give us this corrective structure. Okay, so that is how we're looking at the S&P 500. Let me open the charts here on the indices so you can see where all this is coming from. So let's have a look here on the 1 hour. So this is what we're looking at on the S&P 500. This green wave 1 here is playing, wave 2 here is playing out with the purple correction WXY here. This is why we're expecting this end continuation to the upside. So the move to the upside on the S&P 500 is not over yet. The NASDAQ, looking at the NASDAQ, we are currently still looking for the same move that we expected last week. Just we've not dropped as yet because we were looking for this one to do that. 3 waves down, 3 waves up, and 3 waves to the downside. So the view has not changed on the NASDAQ. We're still expecting it to give us one more down. All right, so the next one here is the Dow Jones. This is the industrial, not the transportation. So we only have the industrial listed, but they are all the same structures. As you can see, very similar to the S&P 500. We'll look for these to push to the upside. All right, so that is the S&P 500, the UK 100. Let's have a look at that on the 1 hour. We are going to see this one push to the upside as follows. So it looks like this is all the way 4 in this red degree, and we're going to be looking for this to continue to push to the upside. Right, and then we've got the DAX, which was our trade of the week last week. Let's look at that on the 4 hour. So we took this from the blue box. This was our blue box here. We made a move to the upside. We came and retested the blue box. Now we're making a move to the upside. We are still looking for the DAX to give us this corrective, to complete this corrective structure, and we see more upside. That is the DAX, and we're looking for continuation to the upside. Nikkei, 4 hour. We looked for the Nikkei to bounce from the blue box. We've gapped up from here. We're currently around this level. So we just want to see the Nikkei break out of this corrective structure in this fashion. Any move around here, this level, we're going to see more upside on the Nikkei. Let's have a look at the Nikkei, the latest chart here on the Nikkei. Nikkei. All right, so that is the Nikkei. As you've seen here, we have forecasted this to bounce from the blue box. We've kept up here. Now we want to see this one continue to push to the upside. And lastly, Nifty, which is not listed on the website, but we do analysis on it every day during our live trading sessions, which is Mondays to Fridays at 8 a.m. GMT. We're looking for the Nifty to do that 3-wave structure, a double correction, and push to the upside. Now, if it takes this level, that means the Nikkei, or rather the Nifty, is going to see more upside. Thank you very much for watching, guys. If you like what we do, please drop us a like, subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so, and push that bell notification button so that you can get an alert next time we upload the video. We really appreciate you watching. Have a great week. Do visit our website for more analysis. And if you want to see the crypto analysis, just check out the next webinar or join us next time. Cheers, everybody. Have a great week. Bye-bye.